Hey everyone, today we're going to be learning how to interpret the remainder when we're dividing. The first thing to remember is that there's three ways to interpret the remainder. I'm going to put a problem up here, 14 divided by 5, which we know is 2, remainder 4. I want to refer back to this each time we write one here. So based on the task that we just did in class, we know that one way to do this is by adding 1 to the quotient. So this might be like if we have 14 people and each car that we're traveling in can hold 5 people. We know that we have 2 cars that we need, but 4 people are going to be left over. Well, we're not going to make those 4 people walk, so we're going to have to get an extra car to hold those 4 people. So in total, we would have 3 cars, even though only 2 of them are completely full. The next thing we would do is drop the remainder. So this is when we're just looking at our quotient, which in this case is 2. So if the question might ask how many cars are completely full, we know that 2 cars are completely full because 4 represents the amount of people left over. So we have 14 people. Each car holds 5 people, so 2 cars are completely full and 4 people are left over. The last way we can interpret the remainder is using just the remainder. So this might be a question that would say, how many people are in the car that's not completely full? We know that each car holds 5 people, but in that car that's not completely full, there's only 4 people there. So if it was asking that question, we would know that 4 people are in that car not completely filled. Let's use this to solve the next 3 problems. The first problem says, a baker's recipe for a loaf of bread calls for 6 ounces of flour. He has 862 ounces of flour. If he uses all of his flour to make loaves of bread, how many full loaves can he bake? So I'm looking at the question before I even start, is how many full loaves? So I'm thinking back here, which way I can interpret that remainder, interpret the remainder. And I know if it's asking me how many full loaves, I'm going to be dropping the remainder. I'm going to be using the second one because I want to see how many full loaves can be made, and that remainder will tell me how many ounces are left over. So let's start with the equation. We start with 862 ounces of flour, and each loaf needs 6 ounces. We're going to do 862 divided by 6. Which way will we interpret the remainder? We just said that was number 2, so drop the remainder. All right, so now let's do our division down here. Let's see, 862 divide by 6. Let's see, there we go. So we can start by seeing 800s cannot be split into 6 groups. Let me write my multiples out. 6, 12, 18, 24. Okay, so 800s can be split into 6 groups. And so now I need to look at my multiples to see which one's going to get closest to 8 without going over. I see that 6. So 6 is the first multiple of 6 because 6 times 1 is 6. So over here, I'm going to write 100 because we're splitting up 8 hundredths. So 6 times 100 is 600. Subtract, that's 2, 6, and 200 left over. Let's see now. 200s can't be evenly split into 6 groups. So I'm going to look at my tens. We have 26 tens, which can be split into 6 groups. I'm looking to see my multiple that's closest to 26 without going over. That's 24. 24 is 1, 2, 3, the 4th multiple of 6. So I'm going to be putting my 4 over here, but we said that was 26 tens, so this needs to be 4 tens, which is 40. 6 times 40 is 240. We're going to subtract. Awesome. So now we have 22 ounces of flour, and we're going to, or not 22 ounces of flour, 22, and we're splitting that into 6 groups. So we're seeing which is biggest that we can get, closest we can get without going over, that's 18. So 18 is 1, 2, third multiple of 6. So we're going to put 3 over here. 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract 22 minus 18 is 4. So now 4 is smaller than the number we're starting, or I'm sorry, within our divisor. So 4 is going to be our remainder. Now we can add up these numbers here. 100 plus 40 plus 3 is 143. Remainder 4. So this is the correct answer to a division problem, but we want to make sure we're answering the question. It said, how many full loaves can he bake? 143 represents the number of loaves he can bake. 4 represents the number of ounces left over. So he can bake 143 loaves of bread, and 4 ounces of flour will be left over. So my answer to my question is 143 loaves of bread. So if you're still confused, don't worry, we've still got more problems to do. So we're going to flip over to the next part. B. The baker sends all his bread to one store. If he can pack up to 7 loaves of bread in a box for shipping, what is the minimum number of boxes required to ship all the loaves? Use part A to help you. Okay, so I'm looking at the question. It says, what is the minimum number of boxes? So that's the least amount of boxes needed. Well, it says use part A to help you. So we need to go back to part A to see how many loaves of bread we have. So I'm going to go back to part A, and I see that, oh, we had 143 loaves. So I'm going to use that for part B. And I know that I'm going to be dividing 143 loaves of bread, and I'm packing them into boxes. Each holds 7 loaves of bread. So I'm going to be dividing by 7. So let's see, which way will you interpret the remainder? Well, it says what is the minimum number of boxes? Well, if there is a remainder, I'm going to need an entire new box just to hold those leftover bread that won't fit in the other boxes. So I'm going to have to add 1 to the quotient. So I'm going to say add 1 to the quotient. And now I'm going to set up my problem. We have 143. We're dividing by 7. So let's see. There we go. It's thinking. Okay. So I'm going to start by listing out my multiples of 7. 7, 14, 21, 28. That's good for now. Okay. I'm looking. We have 100. Can't split 100 into 7 groups, but we can split 14 tenths into 7 groups. Look, there's 14 right here. So 14 is our 1/2 multiple of 7. So I know I'm going to be putting 2 over here. Oh, but that was 14 tens. So I'm putting this as 2 tens, which is the same as 20. 7 times 20 is 140. Subtract, we have 3. Oh, you know what? We can't split 3. There we go. 3 into 7 groups. So this is our remainder. So here, oh, that's easy. We just have to add 20 to itself. So it's 20, remainder 3. This right here is telling us that we need 20 boxes, but there's going to be 3 loaves of bread left over. Well, we're not just going to throw those loaves of bread away. We're not going to ship them without a box because then they get all dirty. We need a whole nother box to include. So we have 20 boxes. 3 boxes are going to be in the next, in the other box. That's a total of 21 boxes that we need. So the answer to the question is 21 boxes. All right, last one. The baker donates all the leftover bread that he has at the end of the day. On Sunday, the baker starts with 254 loaves of bread. If each customer that comes in buys 3 loaves of bread, how many loaves of bread will the baker bring home at the end of the day? Well, let's see. It says that he brings home the leftover amount. Well, right there, we're bringing home the leftover amount. That's the remainder in our problem. So it looks like we're going to be just using the remainder. Let's look at our problem to write in our equation. We have 254 loaves of bread, and each customer is buying 3 loaves, so we're going to be dividing by 3. We're going to set up our problem using partial quotients. All right, start over here by listing our multiples. All right, that's good for, oh, well, actually we should do one more. There we go, do the first 10. So now let's see. We have 200s. I can't split 200s into 3 groups. So we have to look at our 10s. We have 25 10s. Let's see which number is closest to 25 without going over. Oh, look, it's 24. 24 is closest to 25. 24 is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth multiple of 3. So we know we're putting 8 over here. Oh, but we said that was 25 10s. So this should be 8 10s. So this is 80. 3 times 8 is 24, so 3 times 80 is 240. We're going to subtract, and we have 14 left over. We can't split 110 into 3 groups, but we can split 14 ones. Let's see which multiple is closest to 14 without going over. Oh, it's 12. So 12 is the first, second, third, fourth multiple of 3. So we're going to put 4 over here. 3 times 4 is 12. Subtract. We have 2 left over. Well, 2 is less than our divisor, which is 3, so 2 is going to be our remainder. We're going to add these up. We get 84. So now let's see. Our answer is going to be 84 remainder 2 to the division problem, but we have to make sure we're answering the questions. They said that the baker takes home the leftover bread. So how many loaves of bread will the baker bring home? We're looking at just the remainder. So that means that the baker is going to bring home 2 loaves of bread. Always make sure you're referring back. It's going to be one of these 3 ways that we're interpreting the remainder, but always go back and say, what is the question asking of me?